You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have
Okay, so my first question is, how many people here like to travel? I know we got some travelers in here, okay? So for a moment, I want you to think about your favorite place, your favorite city that you've been to. Just for a moment. Can I get some people to yell out? What we got? Lagos. Cape Town. Where else? Where y'all like to go? Zimbabwe. Ooh, I want to get to Africa too. Anybody else? Okay, for me, it was Toronto actually. And the reason why I think Toronto was my favorite is because of a couple things, and I want to get right into it. But with those few places that you have in mind, those few cities, I want you to think about the type of foods that they have. Is it Indian food? Is it fish? Is it whatever the case may be? Think about the slang or the language, the dialect that these people have. I also want you to think about the specific behaviors which kind of are specific to that land or particular to that city. And then lastly, the urban landscape, such as the roads, the buildings, the architecture. These are things that I think make up culture. And those are some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. So like I mentioned, my favorite city was Toronto. And one of the reasons was because Toronto, to me, is very diverse. When I went there, I couldn't put my finger on what exactly a Canadian looked like or a person from Toronto looked like, because they have people from all over the world. I met people from Australia, from New Zealand, from America, from all different places across the world, and it really makes their place diverse. Next, they are very humble. Here in America, I feel like everybody has things, nice things, but they want to flaunt it. They want to put it out instead of open to let people know their stature, their status, how much money they have, because we tend to be a little bit more materialistic. But they are very humble. They have nice things, but they don't really flaunt it as much as we may. They kind of just kick it. They really just chill, and I really appreciate that about them, because you can really find your way throughout the city. It really be cool. Right. And then lastly, they are very progressive. It's a very urban city. They have a bunch of urban policies, progressive policies, such as their healthcare system. They have legal marijuana. I know that's coming to the United States. They have so many different things that make them a developing city. And I really enjoyed everything that I experienced at Toronto. I think it was one of my, like I said, one of my favorite experiences. And I just really have a love for traveling. And I see a lot of people in the audience do as well. And I think that's important, because with traveling, you are able to gain, and I'm kind of tall, this thing is getting in my way. So with traveling, you are able to gain a lot of different perspectives and experience. And the way that I think that gaining knowledge is most easily retrieved is by having experiences and gaining perspectives from other people, because the more perspective you have, the more knowledge you're able to withhold. And so I really pride myself on getting active and being experimentative with everything that I do. So whenever I travel, or whenever you guys travel, don't you find that you kind of relate it back or compare it to dating? You compare it to dating, right? Because you got to compare it to something that you know, something that you've experienced plenty of times. And I do the same thing. And so sometimes we may feel like these bigger cities, larger cities, or even smaller cities have things that we may not have, or things that we may want to bring to our city. And I feel the same way. And so all those things that I mentioned kind of make up Dayton's culture, culture in general. So my question when I go out to travel is, what is Dayton's culture? And I'm asking you guys, if you can point out, throw out some names of some things, what do you think Dayton's culture is in a couple words? Say it. Funk music, for sure. Anybody else?
Innovative.
Innovation, for sure. We have many patents come out of Dayton, Ohio. Hustle, Dayton hustle. I think that's a Midwest thing. Everybody in the Midwest got a nice hustle to them, but Dayton definitely. And those are some of the things that I also think make up Dayton's culture. but I'm gonna put a different spin to it to kind of give you my idea. So those things that you mentioned are good, and I think that we should promote those. We should really elevate those. But some of the ones that I really think are Dayton is a place of opportunity. Because we are so small, we have and we are lacking so much. We have a big city. I mean, big pool, big fish, small pond type of mindset where no matter what you do, you can have a lot of influence, a lot of value add to our community, and I think it's wonderful. And with that, we have a lot of potential for greatness. Because we are so diverse, so innovative, we have so much hustle, we can put those things to good use and become a great city. And then lastly, I think that, and it's kind of a bad thing, we're kind of siloed. And I wanted, me specifically, it's making it kind of my mission to break up those silos and make Dayton more collaborative. And so those are the three things that I want to promote, elevate, and kind of change as we develop as a city. So, I said all of that, but I haven't told you who I am. A lot of people know me by Reggie, but more recently I've been going by Reginald Henderson. And I'm making that change because I am becoming more mature. I guess I'm coming into my name, and I think that it's important that I utilize it because it means king. And I actually have this tattoo I can show you guys a little bit later, which is an African symbol, which means he who wants to be king must first learn to serve. And so with that, I just want to let you know that I am passionate about service, passionate about community development. And a lot of times people have titles about what they, or kind of describe themselves by what they do. And a lot of times it has to do with their job. But for me, it's not about my job because I can work anywhere and still provide the same type of value that I do. So I call myself an innovator. But what does it mean to be an innovator? For me, it's all about being original, having original ideas, having fresh, new, innovative ideas and bring those to the table. And I think that adds a lot of value to the organizations and businesses that I work alongside because we're able to do creative things, and people love creativity. And then I also have like an uncommon thought or uncommon perspective. Because I'm so open and experimentative, like I mentioned, I'm able to acquire these various perspectives and then promote those to the people who may not have those experiences that I've had. And I think a lot of people tend to think that is very helpful into helping their ideas progress, to help their initiatives grow, and to help us to think differently about how we approach our social ills, our problems in our society. Speak up. I got you. I'm sorry, I gotta hold the mic a little bit closer. Okay, so like I said, I'm very passionate about community development. And that kind of got started because I have a fundamental value of of continuously improving. And continuously improving just means that every day, no matter what it is that I do, I'm always looking for ways to be better. And I think that is something that everybody could really align with because it doesn't matter where you are today, you can always be better tomorrow. And if we always keep that mindset in motion and active, we will always be elevating ourselves, elevating our community and our culture. And I kind of got this fundamental value from my experience at the University of Dayton. I went there both as an undergrad and a graduate student. And I got that opportunity by being awarded the W.S. McIntosh Scholarship. And if you guys don't know anything about W.S. McIntosh, we actually have a park named after him. But he was a legendary African-American figure in Dayton, Ohio, who led a bunch of civil rights movements, definitely was all about service, and they named a leadership award after him. I was so lucky and fortunate and blessed to get that because you get a scholarship, a 4-year scholarship to the University of Dayton, and then a 4-year internship with the City of Dayton. And I'll get into the City of Dayton a little bit later, but at the University of Dayton, they have a theme of lead, learn, and serve. And I made that, I kind of internalized that because when I was at Alter for high school, I didn't want to stay in Dayton like a lot of my young professional friends, my millennial friends. We all wanted to explore, get out and see what the rest of the world had to offer. And I was in the same line, in the same vein. A lot of my friends were going out abroad to college, to other states for college, doing their own thing, and here I am staying in Dayton. And so with that, I wanted to make sure that I made the most of my experiences. So I really got ingrained into the culture at UD, got myself ingrained into the culture at Dayton, and make myself, like I said, a value add. And that was a great experience because I was able to, in undergrad, be a part of a lot of social community or community activist initiatives, and it was a great experience. But outside of that, I worked for the city of Dayton, and although I was able to experience a lot of the departments that the city offers, I specifically had the best experience while I was in planning and community development. With that department, I was able to really get out into the community and be hands-on with the grassroots efforts that are going on. I was meeting with neighborhood groups, providing dialogue with a lot of community organizations. I was doing so many things out in the community, and I really fell in love with being engaged with Dayton in a way that I had never been, because I grew up, and all my friends will tell you, we played basketball, we played football, whatever the case may be, and I was always into sports. And so now I was finding my new lane into community development. I found a host of people who were able to share that passion, and they really helped me to learn where I can fit in and make it a niche. And then also, lastly, it was my family who got me engaged into community development. My grandpa and my uncle are both heavily involved into politics. My grandpa is actually a part of LEAD, and my uncle has helped with a bunch of campaigns. And so I definitely learned a lot from them, and they inspired me to get involved more with my community. And then also my mom. She started Ladybug Services, and if you haven't heard of Ladybug Services, it's a complete pest control company located on Hoover. Shout out to my mom, she in the audience. She is, if you know her, she is like one of the biggest hustlers ever. Like, she is one of the most hardest working people that I've ever met, and I'm very inspired by her as well, because not only does she do her business, but she makes sure that she brings her family along to elevate our whole family, to create not only generational wealth, but just wealth within our own family and our own circle. And she also expounds upon that with doing some of the initiatives, such as when we have the kids come in and volunteer. Sometimes we have kids coming and working with us. We do cleanups in our own community over on Hoover and West Dayton. And so it's a lot that goes on. So I really commend her for that. And then also, I found myself being the campaign manager for Shanice Turner Sloss. And if you don't know her, she's an African-American woman out of Dayton, Ohio, who is genuinely and passionately cares about the city of Dayton. She's running for Dayton City Commission, and the actual vote is on November 5th. So I invite you to do some research on her. But she took a chance on me, and because she knew and realized that I had some potential, and that I had a common love for Dayton and a common love for building up our city to develop it into something that we need it to be, that we want it to be, that it can become. We kind of created a super dynamic team, and I hope to become successful in this upcoming election. But outside of that, I also started an organization with my friend Wesley, who is also out in the audience too. Wesley, can you raise your hand? There he is. We started an organization called Elevation Collaborative, and we started this organization first right after we got out of college. And we started this organization because we felt there was a huge need for young professionals to feel like they were a part of Dayton's culture, to be a part of Dayton's community. Because like I said, so many millennials wanted to leave the city for bigger and better things, but we wanted to provide those same reasons why they were leaving, provide those same opportunities in Dayton. So we started off first by hosting events, because he hosted events when he was in college. I did the same when I was in college. And so we just kept that going, and we hosted events such as Wine and Waffles, which is a networking brunch. We hosted Hidden Gems, which is an opportunity for local artists to promote their brands. Business, we held Elevate Ohio, which was for businesses to promote themselves, and a host of other events. And we did this because we wanted to build up a base within our Dayton Young Black Professionals, and that's actually a group that I'm a part of now. But we went from events to wanting to do something more, because we felt like we weren't just hosting events. We weren't just providing spaces or opportunities for young professionals to come together. We were actually wanting to fill gaps in the African American ecosystem. And right now we are trying to develop Elevation to become a hub for African American communities to all connect, collaborate, and have a platform where we can all work together and unify, because I feel like there has been no major movement towards the elevation of Black progress just like the civil rights. And so I made it kind of a model or example of elevation to look at the Black Panther Party and how we can really unite our people, because they had a great run, a great stint, and were able to create a lot of influence within the African American ecosystem. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So, what is Dayton's culture? Like I said, I focus mainly on its potential, its opportunities, and then the silos. But my approach to getting to understand what the culture of Dayton was is to get comfortable in diverse settings, to get comfortable in diverse situations, so that I can learn to adapt and learn the problems, the ills, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities of all and every community that Dayton consists of, because we have such a diverse population, but we are working in these different silos and aren't able to connect. So I definitely wanted to get myself involved there. And then I observe, catch the vibe, and then attack. So I observe to see what's going on, catch the vibe by seeing where I can fit myself in, and then attack by going up to people and really talking to them, engaging them in conversations about things that they have going on in their communities, so I can learn, because eventually I do have maybe political ambitions, but we'll see about that. And then question these targets, these people, these key stakeholders, to see what exactly is going on and where the connections are. But through gathering all this data, I still wasn't able to come up with an average of what is really going on in Dayton, because there's so many different avenues, so many different perspectives and ideas, that it was hard to bring it all together. And excuse me, I'm kind of sweating. The sun is definitely beaming on me. But I had difficulty doing that. But I think that Dayton really resembles Toronto in a way that we are very diverse. But one thing that we're missing that Toronto has is more of a pluralistic mindset. And when I say pluralistic, they all have a common theme or a unifying theme, which brings them all together so that they can act as one. And sometimes in cities, that may be a sports team, that may be a musician or artist, they may be a business. It could be a variety of things, but those are all things that Dayton has. And we need to really support these initiatives, these movements, these businesses, these whatever it is, so that we can create a culture within Dayton that is positive, that really reflects who we are, and can pull us all together as a city. So, and the reason why I say that is because we are stronger together. Everybody knows teamwork makes the dream work, and I want to be able to, you got a hat for me, I appreciate you. And I want to be able to create greater outcomes in our communities, because we are all, that's perfect. We are all working and doing our own things, but if we work together, we are going to be able to do so much more.
That's right.
So, what are my visions, or what are the visions of what Dayton can become in the future? I invite you guys to imagine a Black Dayton or African American Dayton where we intentionally support our small businesses and initiatives.
Yes,
we
sir.
have so many people, so many entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs out in the city, who are just looking for opportunities to thrive.
Right.
And if we give our dollars, if we give our resources, our energy, our time to them, they would definitely thrive.
Right.
Imagine a Black Dayton where we build relationships with our neighbors, not just the person who lives next door to you, not just the person who lives down the street from you, but our whole community. We must know each other. I feel like we don't know each other. And I see a couple faces in the crowd that I know, but we need to be building our networks every day. We need to know exactly who is in our community, so that we can understand what the strengths are and what people bring to the table, because we all have a lane.
Yes,
we need to
do.
stay in our lane, and because if we all have our own lane, we're on the same road, we all going to the same place. And that's exactly what I want to do.
Beautiful.
Imagine a Black Dayton where we held everyone up to a moral and ethical standard. I mentioned the Black Panther Party earlier, and I actually just retweeted something from Angela Davis. It was their codes. The codes of brothers should support brothers, sisters should support sisters, brothers should support sisters, things of that nature. We fail in a lot of ways in supporting one another and holding each other accountable for the things and actions that we do. And that is one reason why I believe that so many things have happened in the city and not too much change has occurred. We need some action items and change to really build Dayton up. And then also establish our own platforms to grow, prosper, and learn. we are the only people that we can depend on. We can't look to other ethnic groups, other religions, other whatever, to help the people who are within our own community. We need to look out for ourselves and create those platforms where that can happen. And that's why I really commend Brother Stephen Muhammad for putting stuff like this together, where we're able to express ourselves and then put all this information out into the open so that people can understand where exactly we are in our mindsets and our thinking.
Thank you, brother.
So all this sounds good and this sounds great, but how do we get there? I think first of all, or not actually, this is not even in a sequential order. We must learn and acknowledge our social ills. There's so much that goes on in our community, and we kind of just turn the other cheek, look the other way, and we know that we need to stand up and say something, speak out against the things that we know are wrong into our community. And it could be as simple as littering. When I came here today, I saw a family walking to the culture festival, and they just throw their popsicles right in the middle of the yard. And I'm like, hey, you know, you can just wait till you get to the culture festival where it's a lot of trash cans and throw that right in the trash can. We need to be more respectful to our land and let it be known what the problems are in our community, so that we can start making moves and start having strategies and plans to change those things. And even the ones that's hard to swallow. And then we must humble ourselves and lose our egos. We as a people, I think, we have a lot of pride in ourselves, but individually we have too much pride, and it kind of gets in the way of us working together. And if we aren't able to get past our ego, get past our and humble ourselves to say, hey, you are just like me, I'm just like you, we have the same background, the same whatever the case may be, skin color. We need to be working together on something and make it the best it can be. We need to treat everyone with dignity, everyone with respect and integrity, because that's exactly how we want it to be. How we want to be treated. It's all about giving off the energy that you want to receive. And then we need to stop looking for approval from or comparing ourselves to other groups. When I say approval from, that's a lot of, I mean specifically white people, honestly, because we've always tried to integrate into the systems that they created, or even been forced to integrate in some of the systems that they created. But it's not about that. We have to create our own so that we can have our own image of what success, of what greatness, of what power, of what beauty is, because we have it all within us. And because at the end of the day, we need to look at our ethnic group, our African American diaspora, as a competition. Like, we are all, tribes compete, teams compete, everybody is in competition, and it's okay that we stick together and unite to compete against the other ethnic groups, because at the end of the day, we want to be successful, we want to be the most prominent, we want to be the kings and queens of the world, which we are. We need to promote that.
That's right.
We also must determine a common theme which is going to unify us all, and that's why I came up with Elevation Collaborative, because a theme that I think we all can get behind is because we've been down for so long, it's time for us to rise up.
Right.
I think that we can all elevate in one way or another, whether it's with our health, whether it's physically or with our nutrition. We can elevate our minds, our spiritual beings, our religious beings, whatever it is that you bring to the table, whatever it is that you hold inside, you can always be better the next day. And so that is something that we all, even as a human race, can get along with. But if Black people specifically understand that is exactly what we are all focused on, or all unified towards, we can always work together, which is where the second word comes in, collaborative. Because it's all about collaboration, because we must work together in order to achieve these greater odds. We've been suffering from segregation and racism and prejudice and so much, and slavery for 300, 400, 500,000, whatever amount of time, years, it's going to take that much, it could take that much time to get back to it. But if we start today, every day we're going to get work more towards that goal of our dominance, of our prominence, of our excellence. And that's what I want to bring to the table. Then we must also develop a long-term inclusive strategy or agenda toward the elevation of the African American ecosystem, and what that could look like with true knowledge and understanding, because what we learn in school is not what really happens in real life. She came up with a lot of information that you're not gonna catch in school, that you're not gonna, even the five food groups that we think is supposed to be so healthy is all a lie. So we must teach our kids the truth behind that's under the surface, because what they telling us in schools or telling us elsewhere it's just not true. We need to take more accountability for ourselves. And then also, lost my place. It's all about quality parenting and mentorship. I think there is a huge generational gap within 5 minutes. Okay. There's a huge generational gap between the elders, between the young professionals, and we need to fill those gaps. And then even the younger generations, we need to fill those gaps and give them all the information, the resources, the knowledge that they need, so that the things that we create, the legacies that we build, can continue on and thrive for centuries and generations to come. Let's see. And then also, I lost my place one more time. I'm sorry. Okay, so the next thing is hold each other accountable. We must hold each other accountable for when people say they're going to do something. We so often put people in positions of power with the information that, or understanding that they're going to do something, and they don't end up doing it. And what do we do about it? We must not only complain about it, but we need to take action steps to actually get them either out of office or positions of power, or make them change their mind or change their approach, so that it can be more reflective of what we represent. And then also, when people damage our communities, we also need to hold them accountable, because we've seen, unfortunately, so much gun violence in our communities. And there's certain groups, and people know who these communities, who these people are, and that's not saying snitching or nothing like that. I'm just saying hold people accountable, because if not, it's just going to continue. And I just hope that we can see past the, I guess, hate that lies within each other, and really learn to spread love. Because when people don't add value to our community, it only diminishes and damages the very things that we hope to build up. And then next, we need to unconditionally support one another. We need to help each other when they're in need and when they prosper. We must participate in movements and events and initiatives that we promote ourselves and put on and host ourselves, because we have stuff like the African American Culture Fest, and this place should be packed. Yeah. We have a whole West Dayton that's compiled of like 90% black people, but where are all the black people at? They need to be here, and we need to create opportunities for us to do more of this, to have more fellowship. And like I said, unconditionally do that. So what's next? Today, people are always looking for things that they can do now, things that they can do today to really change for the future. And so right now, like somebody said, we need to educate ourselves on power, on racism, on the system, on history, on successful African Americans, on a lot of different avenues and things that are going on in our world, in our society, that could benefit us in the long run. We need to think black before you act. I said that a little bit earlier, by engaging with and supporting at least one black business out here today. It can be one of the vendors, it could be a business that we have locally, it can be anything. Just make sure that you support black first, because there are a ton of, like I said, entrepreneurs who do the same thing. And oftentimes we could grope and complain about it not being the same quality as you may get somewhere else, or it may not be as good timing because, we on CP time. But at the end of the day, it's our people, and you help us to promote our people and support our people, and they ain't gonna never get on time. They ain't gonna never provide that quality of service if they not getting the customers and they're not getting the support from the community that they need. It's just gonna be another business. And so now I just need you guys to ask yourself why. Ask yourself, and you gotta ask yourself why, to get down to the core, or get down to the root causes or root values or root whatever it is of what it is that you're doing. Like, why are you here today? I'm here today because I wanted to spread a message. I'm here today because I wanted to connect with some of my peers, some of my community, in a way that I think that is very impactful and very positive. And so you got to keep asking yourself why, so you can get to the underlying, under the surface and the underlying themes of what really is going on. So with that, I'm really going to leave you, and I hope I leave you feeling full with some food for thought. Again, my name is Reginald Henderson, and I hope to connect with you all soon. And our mantra with Elevation Collaborative is let's elevate. So on 1, 2, on 3, can I get you all to say let's elevate? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, let's elevate. One more time, 1, 2, 3, let's elevate. For sure, and thank you.
You gotta have knowledge for life. You gotta have knowledge. have knowledge.